Let us dive into Genesis 2:17, where God says, and I quote, "But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die," unquote. Now this verse brings up a key question. Was God threatening Adam and Eve with death as a punishment for any disobedience? To make sense of this, let us use an analogy. Imagine you run a business selling pesticides. You warn your only child, your daughter, not to play near the pesticide storage. You say to her, if you go near that area, you will surely die because the poison's long-term effects. Despite your warning, she disobeys and plays near the storage. Over time, she contracts a rare blood disease from the poison. And the only cure? A blood transfusion from someone with an incredibly rare blood type. The problem is, the only potential match is another sibling. So, you and your spouse decided to have another child, hoping that this new baby will have the right blood to save your daughter. Thankfully, your baby boy is born with the exact match. His blood is used for a transfusion, saving your daughter's life. Now, what I want you to do is think back to your original warning when you said to your daughter, "You will surely die." Were you threatening to impose a punishment if your daughter disobeyed? Of course not. Your warning wasn't about punishment. It was a loving attempt to protect your daughter from danger. In the same way, when God said in Genesis 2:17, "If you eat from this tree, you will surely die," it wasn't a threat or a declaration of punishment. It was a loving warning about the natural consequences of disobedience, which is separation from God, who is the source of life, and that separation means death. Disobedience means choosing separation from God, which inevitably leads to physical and spiritual death. Now, this isn't because God is vengeful or angry. It is simply that life cannot exist apart from Him. But there is a beautiful part to this. Just as you did everything to save your daughter by bringing a new life into the world, God did everything to save us. He sent His Son, Jesus, whose blood sacrifice is the life-giving transfusion that we needed. Now, this clearly demonstrates God's loving warning for us to choose to be reconnected back to Him. You see, when we reconcile to God, we become His children again, His sons and His daughters. Just as your daughter's illness was not a punishment but a consequence of her actions, our spiritual separation from God is not His punishment, but the natural consequences of our rebellion, our sinfulness. Romans 6:23 makes this clear. The wages of sin is death, unquote. Meaning, death is the natural result of sin, not a punishment from God for your disobedience. Amen to that.